What's up, magical people? Welcome back to your most magical life. I'm Mia Magik. Today we are talking about the Aries New Moon and the solar eclipse, which unfortunately I don't live in the line of totality of, so I will not be seeing it as much as I would like to be. But this is a really potent and powerful time and moment. I personally see this as kind of a second astrological new year because there were actually two Aries new moons this year. So the first Aries new moon was like at 0 degrees, and now we're like at 29 degrees. I'm not an astrologer, don't quote me on that. I don't know the exact degrees, but that's the only way that it's possible, is if one is like very, very, very much at the beginning and one is very, very, very much at the end of the degree system. So that's super cool. We have two like astrological new years. We have two Aries new moons. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's very much like the impetus, the activation, and the like taking initiative. And what we're gonna be doing that's super fun, if you would like to join, I have just released my lowest cost offering ever that is a super powerful, extra juicy, potent money magic manifestation abundance ritual. And it is a collection of practices and tools and techniques that I have used, like deep embodiment ritual and like environmental transformation, that has allowed me to go from like absolutely completely flat broke into super wealthy and abundant, and being able to like invest in conscious companies and being able to like wield my wealth like a wand, you know what I'm saying? And so we are going to be doing a 30-day challenge from this second Aries new moon until the Taurus new moon. So it's like 29 days, it's a real moon cycle, 29 and a half. And so if you would like to join us, click the link below, get your abundance ritual. There is a Kajabi community, so you will automatically be able to join. No Facebook group needed. Anyways, it's going to be so exciting. And then Taurus, of course, which I'll make a different video for, but the Taurus new moon is that sign of our abundance, of our values, of our luxurious, sensual comforts and pleasures. And so it feels like a really important time to be doing this ritual together. I actually just did the ritual yesterday for the second time. And as soon as I got back downstairs, I like go up to the mountaintop, obviously. And as soon as I got back, my team messaged me and was like, hey, the biggest podcast opportunity, the like most famous person that's ever wanted to interview you just reached out and like wants to talk to you and tell your magical story on her podcast. And I was like, okay, hallelujah, great. So reminder that it's about a lot of different types of abundance. And that is a perfect little segue into this moon and this time. Because this Aries new moon, again, is the second one. So we already had that like full astrological new year moving into this like new chapter, new phase, new time. And now this is the beginning of eclipse season. Again, this eclipse is only visible in like Asia and like the South Pacific, which is like one of my favorite parts of the world. And I'll be there in August. So I'm really bummed that I'm gonna miss this. But when we have an eclipse, something is being eclipsed, right? Duh. So we're standing on Earth. A full solar eclipse means that the moon is passing in front of the sun and blocking it out, again, in like Australia and different parts of the world. So the Earth represents our abundance, our finances, our material reality, our relationships, our career. It's all about our physical environment, our home, our job, all of these like tangible earthly things, right? Earth element. And then the sun represents our fire, our action, our power. The sun is like our light, our willingness or capacity to shine. It's obviously our persona, right? Our personality. That's why like our sun sign is our kind of outward facing energy. And then the moon rules our sexuality, our heart and soul, our emotional realm. And so if you think about the relationship of these three planetary bodies, Earth, earthly body, right? The sun is being eclipsed by the moon. So our light, our shining, our power is having a challenging moment. Not challenging, like the sun's gonna be fine. But the moon, our heart and soul, some maybe like wound or emotion or like some kind of challenge or pain that we're experiencing, right? Because we're like deeply feeling it, it's in our emotional realm, is eclipsing that light and power. So this is a really important time, like blocking that light from the earth. So this is a really important time for us to be aware of how, like, just be conscious, right? It doesn't mean, this is not like fatalistic or fortune telling. This is just archetypal energy. This doesn't mean that like your whole life is going to fall apart, right? This is just something to be aware of if you feel like sort of that lack of shining on your earthly reality, which is why I'm doing this abundance ritual here, is because like we're going to move through that eclipse where like that light shining power might be blocked out by some emotion or some wound that we have, like some block that we're experiencing, in order to affect or impact positively, which is what we would hope, our earthly reality. So our abundance, our finances, our relationships, right? All the different expressions of abundance. That's like what the earth is all about. So this is a very opportune time for us to really just get clear on like, what are the emotions that are still eclipsing our light? What are the ways that we're still like hurting ourselves or feeling hurt internally or not feeling safe or feeling uncomfortable, or, you know, like letting anything really, but like letting some element of what we think or feel, because often our emotions are informed by our thoughts, and Mercury is like the planet that rules our thoughts, but you know, like your emotions very often respond to your thoughts. And so how do your emotions, and therefore the thoughts that respond to them, affect your earthly reality? Again, in particular, like for me, because I'm like really feeling this abundant energy for spiritual people. Some of you probably watched my last video, like why spiritual people need money, why we have to be wealthy so we can shift the tides on this planet. So what is preventing that shining, that power, that magic of the sun, your radiance, your brilliance, from impacting positively, from touching, from reaching the earth? Now, again, it's momentary, right? And something that I always think about, you know, when we look back at astrology is like, let's be real. If we were here in Colorado, in California, whatever, in a different country than where you could see the solar eclipse happening, you wouldn't know it was happening. So it's more effective in the places where it's happening, but like we are a planetary species. We are all one. We are all connected. And so, you know, ultimately it does affect us as well. So the most important thing to recognize during this time, and unfortunately, so sorry, I won't be leading a ritual. I'm going to be deep in the south of France on a Mary Magdalene pilgrimage that I'm so excited about. But this is why I'm doing this 30-day deep ritual experience every day, where we're like working through this magic together, because what you really want to be paying attention to is what were the things that 1 month ago, right? Like this moon cycle, we're having a second Aries new moon that was the astrological new year, that was like, okay, the impetus for the new setting, new, right? Like sprouts and flowers and blossoms in motion into action. Aries is a fire sign. It's about our action. It's about how we move forward, right? It's like our motivation, like who we're meant to be in the world, what we stand for, what we fight for. Are we willing to stand up for what's right? That energy is the sign that the moon is in right now. So the moon is actually the thing that's blocking the fiery sun. So the sun and the moon, right? Because that's what happens on a new moon. The sun and the moon are in the same sign. The sun is also in Aries. So how you would want to check this out for yourself and like look at how this really affects you. Like Aries is my 12th house because I'm a Taurus rising. So that means that this is going to impact my spirituality. This is going to affect like my 12th house. But then also, because Aries is the first house, which is again why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, is that this first house, which for me is Taurus, is going to be touched by this Aries energy, this like full Aries experience. And my Jupiter is also in Aries. And so like I have this like magical, abundant thing that's happening right now as Aries or Jupiter is like making this return. And Jupiter was in this Cazimi, which means the heart of the sun. And the sun and Jupiter were conjunct and aligned on April 11th, just a few days ago. And so there's like a lot that's been happening. So you want to look at, where does Aries fall in your chart? Do you have any planets that are ruled by Aries energy? Or like, you know, what planets do you have in the house of Aries or in your first house, which would be your rising sign? Again, I'm not an astrologer. That is a very complex science. It's the oldest science in the world. You gotta like go to somebody else if you really want to learn like the deep about it, you know? But the archetypes are super important. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, right? So my 12th house is my spirituality and my first house is myself. But because my first house is Taurus, It's myself in relationship to my values. It's myself in relationship to my creature comforts, my sensuality, my relationship to the earth, which like for me is myself. And so I get to look at, okay, where is that energy with all these interplaying of the planets for the solar eclipse? Where is that gonna show up? Or how can I just be mindful of showing up in the best way that I can, standing for what I know is right, not allowing any of my sort of like stubborn emotions, right? Aries energy, very stubborn, the ram, like, not allowing any of my stubborn emotions, old, past shit, whatever it is, to impact or affect like my connection to my spirituality and my relationship to myself. Again, because the earth is relationships. So the light is not shining, the sunlight is not shining on that planetary body that rules our relationships. Again, this is getting very complex, so let's rein it in here a little bit. But the most important thing to be aware of is that you are like getting that second chance at the astrological new year. I mean, not technically, right? But like it's another Aries new moon. The moon is new. It's in the sign of Aries. This is magic. This is potent. It's very rare to have new moons in the same sign in a month. It happens very rarely. And so, because obviously we get the word month from moon, like it's meant to be the moon cycle, moons. And so the invitation is to look at, again, you can dive into your chart and check and see if that's like really resonant for you. But the bigger invitation is really to just look at your action, your shining, how you're feeling about the action that you're taking and the shining that you're making, how you're feeling in your relationships, where there's tension, where there's like not light being shown, where there's maybe like, hurt or sad emotions. And seeing how you can just hold the vibration of what you do desire. Again, like that Aries energy of like, I'm going to fight for what I believe in. I'm going to stand for what's right. I'm going to stand up for what matters to me. And that's, again, for me, like my Aries house is Taurus. So my first house, which is Aries' house, is Taurus. So like it is about values for me. So anyone who's a Taurus rising as well, this is going to impact like, what do you value? What matters most to you? And then you want to look at like which house your Aries is in, depending on what your rising sign is. Again, like mine is the 12th because it's just shifted one because the second sign is my first house. So what we get to do is really look at that emotional, that moon energy, that standing up for what's right, but those feelings. For me, how I see that is like in this planet, in this reality, in this world right now, the emotions that are actually like not safe to be felt by most people are the thing that are blocking the light from shining upon us. We're not supposed to feel sad. We're not supposed to feel angry. We're not supposed to feel, frustrated or ungrateful or any of the things that like sometimes we just fucking feel. That's why I lead rage rituals at my retreat. I'm so excited on the Taurus new moon. We get to, or actually I guess it's a Scorpio full moon. I guess I lead the Taurus new moons at my Redwood retreat. Anyways, so I always lead a rage ritual no matter what kind of retreat I'm leading. And it's so powerful because so often as women, we've never been given permission or given ourselves permission to feel those feelings. So what would be the feeling that is blocking out for you? What have you not allowed yourself to feel? What have you, suppressed and shut down? Like this is that moment where you get to see that that is actually hindering your light. That is blocking your light from shining on your life, your earthly reality. And so what are the things that are most important for you to stand up for? And that's like the big invitation for all of us on the planet, and really looking at like these emotions that are especially in men, but like also in women, like anger more so in women and like sadness in men, but they're totally shut down and suppressed. You're not supposed to feel them, but you have to feel them to heal them. And so that's the invitation that I'm really feeling archetypally from this energy with the sun and the moon and the solar eclipse and the Aries energy being about fire. It's about action. It's about what are you going to do? And now look, like the ruling fiery body of like our shining radiant action is being blocked. So what are we going to do? Because we have to be doing something different. We have to stop operating the way that we are. We are running this planet into the ground, and she's going to be fine. Guess what? She's going to be good. She's going to be able to take care of herself, but we better watch out because you know what happens when we get sick, right? We take medicine. we work to remedy it. And this giant, massive, beautiful planetary deity, she is going to work to remedy the illness that is our species as like a parasitic bacteria if we don't start changing our ways and being more conscious and responding in a more reciprocal way with her and tuning into what she needs and who she is as the mother that we all share and how we can serve and support and love her even better. So this is kind of the overarching energy that's present here right now. It's just a super important time for doing deep inquiry, and that's why my abundance ritual starts off with inquiry and inventory. You know, some people say like, don't ever manifest on the eclipse. I think that because of the relationship to the light and this being like moon and sun in fire signs and, or like the same fire sign, you know, and the sun being eclipsed by the moon, the ruler of water and emotion and sexuality, I feel like it's not necessarily about like setting intentions, but I do feel like it's about taking action. And for me, that's a huge way that I, especially around Aries season and like most of the fire signs, is like your ritual can just be taking action. What would it look like for you that entire day to like honor your shining, stand up for what you believe in, really be motivated towards the change that you want to see in the world, the change that you want to create? And how would you then transform your habits, right? So that doesn't have to be about like, oh, I'm setting the intention for X, Y, and Z. It's like, I'm changing my habit because I'm showing up differently today. I'm doing something different today. I'm being someone different today. That's a ritual. And if you stick to it, then it's transformation. And ultimately, fire is the element of transformation. That's what it wants from us. It wants us to transform. It wants something new, something different. And when we have these eclipses, like they are those big like shakeups. If you've ever seen a solar eclipse, like they are life-changing. And like I'll be chasing the ones that, you know, come close enough to just roll over to as soon as I, you know, whenever I can, as often as I can. There hasn't been another one in the States since the last one I saw. So it's really, really an invitation for us. How can we transform any of the emotions that are hindering or harming our action and transformation? What ways are we allowing ourselves to be blocked? And then how is that block affecting our earthly reality and our abundance and our relationships and our careers? And how can we be sovereign and autonomous and make different choices and make choices that are in right relationship with the earth? Deeply loving, reciprocal, no more Amazon, no more big fucking manufacturing, IKEA, Home Depot, Bed Bath & Beyond. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm sorry, I keep saying it. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry actually at all, but I'm like, if all of these fucking manifestation teachers and influencers and everybody is just gonna be talking about how fabulous they are and how much money they make all the time and never talking about the importance of taking care of the earth, like I can't stand for that. So in this period, when this fire is like, asking me to stand up for what I know is right and what I believe in, I'm fucking going to. Look at my cute little secondhand cashmere sweater. She gets all her cashmere secondhand because she can't help herself. She just fucking loves it and wants to feel luxurious, but just knows that there's too much stuff already on this planet. We don't need to make any more. We could feed, house, and clothe every person on this planet over and over again for what we've already got. And that is one of those things, the ignorance, it's not ignorance, we all know, but turning the blind eye to it, pretending like we don't know, that is a block. That is a suppression of an emotion because we should all be fucking weeping about it. We should all be grieving the clear cuts of the forests. We should be sobbing at the mining going on. The desecration, the burning of the rainforests, like, but we're not. So maybe that's the emotion. Maybe it's a lack of emotion. Maybe it's an unwillingness to feel the most important things to feel. And giving yourself permission is the most vital action that will transform how the light shines on your earthly reality. It's just one possibility, but feels like it could be so. So thank you all so much for watching, listening to my rants, and also like knowing that, you know, I know that in your hearts and souls, you feel this because it is true. And like, that's what happened to me. It is true. I'm not saying anything that's not true. And so when we do something about it and we make change and we make effort, the earth feels that. And that is how she's rewarded me. That is how I have generated such massive abundance. That's why we're doing this abundance ritual together. Again, starting our 30-day challenge on the Aries New Moon on Thursday. And, you know, my reverence to her, my honoring of her, my deep awareness of my impact on her is what has allowed me to generate a massively successful business and a beautifully abundant life in every way. Taking those actions, being willing to stand up for this truth and not just like go along and say what everybody else says. I can't do that. It's not right for me, you know? So I'm just so grateful for all of you. It's such an incredible gift and blessing, like to have this kind of community. I did a live on Instagram today that was just so like truthful and yeah, just really, really powerful. And it felt so good to have people who can receive reflections and like dragon fire piercing treasure of truth, because that's what I'm here to share. So it is just always such an incredible gift to receive the reflections that I do from all of you. I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for letting me be myself. I am Mia Magik. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, it is my deepest honor and pleasure to welcome you to your most magical life.